My name's Miles, Daniel Miles, and this is a dunking of the worst films of 2015. Okay, so caveat guys, again, I did not see every film released in 2015. There's 20 films a week come out in the UK. So of the films, yeah, maybe I missed a couple of stinkers, but unlike my best films, nope, don't care about them. So these are, in descending order, the 10 worst films of an actually quite wretched year for film. Mordecai. Captain Jack Sparrow is an English fop. When a film's central joke is that the main character has a moustache, you can tell it's bad. No one seemed to care, no laughs at all, the plot didn't make any sense, utterly wretched, bombed at box office, bombed critically, and the planned franchise is getting cancelled. Fantastic. Taken 3. The first Taken is a legitimate modern action masterpiece. I've got it in my DVD collection just off to the left. Taken 2 but was the same thing but in a 12A rating, so hopes were not high for Taken 3. The one thing we did not expect to happen was a lame Fugitive knockoff. If you want to see a better version of Taken 3, watch The Fugitive. It's again a legitimate action classic. Tommy Lee Jones makes it. Forrest Whitaker acts everyone else off screen because everyone else is on autopilot, at least he seems to have perked up a bit. The action is dull, the plot is dull, Neeson is even on more autopilot than usual. Utterly boring, tedious film, and hopefully the end of the Taken franchise. $50 Shades of Grey. Okay, so I know a lot of critics have put this significantly higher on the list, but I was more bored by it than offended. I went in expecting a bit of trash. I knew it was based on Twilight fanfiction, but what I didn't realise was the people in it actually thought they were making a film. The main character, who played Christian Grey, signed a thing saying he wasn't going to appear naked in the film, and that kind of derailed a lot of the sex scenes. They got in an awesome director, they got Danny freaking Elfman to do the music. This film would have been a lot better if it had been a lot worse. As it was, I was just bored by it. Jupiter Ascending. Okay, so the Wachowskis made The Matrix and have lived off that film ever since because they have never, ever made a film anywhere near as good. I mean, when you make a redefining film like The Matrix, I understand you're going to be sort of caught in its shadow forever, but I was at least expecting something, a little bit of Flash Gordon, a little bit of Star Wars, you know, give me a good space opera, a good new space opera. I was well up for that. I love Flash Gordon, I love Star Wars. This was awful, repetitive, poorly plotted, the dialogue was woeful, the characters were pathetic. You couldn't even kill Sean Bean. The Wachowskis have said this is probably going to be the last big budget film they're ever going to do. Good. Goodbye. Entourage. I missed the TV series for this, and I don't think I missed anything at all. Sexist, racist, unfunny. It shows that the best way to get ahead is just to screw everyone over. Sex and the City for guys, hated Sex and the City, hated this, didn't like it, thank God it's over, never going to watch it again. I rated this as poor, thinking about it now, this should have got a fire rating. Nothing else to say about this film. Black Hat. Okay, so my dad's favourite director releases a film that would have been dated in 1993. Chris Hemsworth as a hacker. The hackers don't look like Chris Hemsworth. Mumbled dialogue, terrible shooting, cliches, I couldn't tell what was happening, I couldn't tell what the characters were doing. It was awful. But the person sitting next to me in the cinema got a text and was checking her phone. Normally I would really frown on that sort of thing. Instead I was sort of more intrigued. I was like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? That was more interesting than what was happening on screen. And by the end of the film he's given up any pretension this is about hacking and cyber terrorism, and it's just gone down into a knife fight. Pixels. I knew this film was going to be awful. Adam Sandler films are always awful, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. Sexist, racist, homophobic, a million plot holes, and they dared to bring Queen, the band that released the greatest song in history, into this mess. At least now Sandler is Netflix's problem and I never have to deal with him ever again. It was an action comedy where the action wasn't exciting, the comedy wasn't funny, and Sean Bean didn't die. Moomins on the Riviera. Okay, so this is a strong contender for the worst children's film ever. I don't make that statement lightly, because the animation, the hand-drawn animation, looks kind of nice, but it tires the eyes after a while. The characters don't learn, they don't adapt. There's no central moral to the film, and it just kept going and going and going, and it was just tiring. It just made me angry that these characters that apparently, I've never heard of them before, but apparently they're huge, had this huge following. Most of that story is about sort of living a simple life, you know, growing crops and things, and this film, it was just wretched. I always hate it when it's the something film and the plot is they go on holiday, because you can already tell the plot. You know the plot, I know the plot, there was no twists, no surprises, nothing to look forward to, and I wanted the entire bunch of talking hippos taken out by poachers. Fant4stic. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. Fox has to make a Fantastic Four film every 10 years or the right to revert back to Marvel. That's why Fox made this film. They tapped a director who made the Pretty Good Chronicle. He rounded up a pretty good group of actors and Miles Teller, and he made... Here's the thing, the backstory behind this film is infinitely more interesting than the actual film itself. The actual film itself is an endless first act followed by an incredibly rushed sequel. The actors are wasted, it's dull to look at, that no one seems to be having any fun. They're supposed to be Marvel's first family, but they're never even referred to by their superhero names, ever! It was a bomb critically, it was a bomb commercially, and thank God the planned sequel is not going to happen. And behind the scenes, the director who made a relatively low budget film where you're relatively left alone by the studios. Here he made a big budget film, they interfered and eventually, and you can kind of tell when the studios took control. Endless reshoots, you can tell by Kate Mara's hair what's a reshoot and what's not. It was just an awful experience of a film. So bad that my girlfriend fell asleep and knew exactly what was happening when she woke up. In a film, you're not supposed to be that predictable, even a comic book film. When films are raising the bar, especially comic book films, they're raising the bar and showing us what you can do with these springboards. Very least, I hope Fox sells the rights back to Marvel, at the very least, because this is just utterly wretched. I don't want another one of these in 10 years. I don't want another one of these ever. It's not the worst film out this year. Terminator Genisys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, presenting the second most profitable film in the history of the Terminator franchise. This one is getting its sequel. This one is getting a TV series. I blame you. Critics saw this film. Critics told you what this film was. If you had let this film wither and die, it and Fant4stic would have been joint first. But as this is getting its sequel, it is number one. Because it has proven that we are gullible for this kind of thing. The film takes the first two Terminator films, the legitimately awesome first one and the assumed to be awesome second one, merges them together, strips out everything that gave it its 18 and 15 rating and made it a 12A. A mishmash of plot points that aren't explained and plot holes with dull action. Who is keeping Jai Courtney in work? Who is this agent who does this? Because my God, we should make him president of the world. Because quite clearly he can do the impossible. Emilia Clarke, you are better than this. Arnold, you are too old for this. Nothing in this film stood out. It gave away its biggest plot point, something that could have actually been quite a legitimately cool idea in the trailer, because there was nothing else to give away. A waste of Matt Smith, a waste of time and effort and money, and how much they paid James Cameron to say this was going to reinvigorate and make people fall back in love with Terminator again. However much they paid him, I hope he enjoys his blood money. Terminator was a low-budget 1980s chase film. It was never meant to be this. It was never meant to have this franchise. Let it die. Let all these films die. I'm Daniel, and this is the worst films of 2015. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hope that next year is better.